walk into it, the furniture's beautiful, and people say, I want that RV. And on his thermometer, it went to 700 degrees and was keeping to climb. I said, this is a safety issue.
Yeah. So why don't you walk us on how you started the business?
I had a software company, sold the company, was sitting around the house, driving my wife crazy, driving me crazy too. I immediately saw I'd closed that valve and got the hose out and cleaned things off, but boy, I almost ended up like Robin Williams there.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of What is Your Story? My name is Louis, your host, and what we do on this episode, you guys, we interview some amazing entrepreneurs and business owners in the area and some unique ones as well. My guest, George, right here, he has a really amazing, unique business. I cannot wait for you guys to hear his story. Welcome, George.
Yeah, thank you so much.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
So tell us about your business. Tell us a little bit about how you started your business.
Okay, well, I call my business RV Inspections by George because I'm a one-man show. I started out with the idea of people need help when they're buying an RV, and that it's a big and emotional process that people go through because they're spending sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they expect that the RV is going to be in perfect condition.
Right.
But most people don't realize that an RV dealership is really a broker. They're not like a Ford dealership where they represent Ford. What they are just brokers that are selling this brand and that brand and that brand, and those units come from most of them come from Indiana, and then put on the dealer's lot. And the dealership's role is to get you to fall in love with this beautiful RV. You walk into it, the furniture's beautiful. They're really good at making it look great. And people say, I want that RV, and they don't see all the things that aren't, right in their face sometimes. And they are just, I'm buying it now. And my role, I always tell people I have a conflicting role with the sales manager. Sales manager says, you buy this RV today, give us a check, and take it down the road.
And you're like, no, wait a minute, let me check.
And wait a minute, let me check. Oh, boy, I just gave the dealership a checklist with 15 different problems that they have to fix before you take it off of the lot.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times the dealers don't like me coming in there, but luckily the Bureau of Automotive Repair says that they have to let me do an inspection, and I'm fully licensed. I'm a certified NRVIA, the National RV Inspectors Association. I have my business license and insurance, and I've also gone down the road of getting additional education. So I'm not just a certified inspector, I'm also a licensed technician. I'm certified with Coleman, the air conditioner company, Dometic, they make air conditioners, they make water heaters and refrigerators. I'm also certified with a company called AquaHot, which is on a lot of the big high-end RVs. And I'm also roof certified with Dicor roof products. And so all these things allow me to sometimes see stuff that others don't see. Maybe another inspector might not see it, and hopefully that additional education, those certifications help me to help the customer, because it's really the greatest feeling ever when people say, oh man, thank you so much, you saved us.
It's kind of cool business, George.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like inspecting a home, right? So when you buy a home, you need to call an inspector, to inspect your home. So it's the same thing. Why wouldn't you call an RV inspector before you buy an RV worth $300,000 or whatever?
Exactly. Well, the problem is that it's not a problem, but people aren't educated that RV inspectors exist because it's a relatively new industry.
Yeah.
It came about, at least the stories that the school told us, is that it came about during Hurricane Katrina, when the FEMA was putting out trailers, they had to certify that the trailer was safe, and that's how RV inspections began.
Right.
And the people that were doing those inspections started the school in Texas called the National um, RV Inspectors Association, and basically began the process of
Right.
helping people more than just the government.
Right.
And it's come out to now where I'm going to dealerships, um, I'm going to private party houses, I'm going to storage facilities, wherever it is that the RV is located, that the customer
Right.
needs help. I'm there to help them with this process. And the thing that people like is that as a third party independent inspector,
Mm-hmm.
they're hiring me to work for them. And the dealership or the seller, there's nothing they can do to stop me from telling my
Nice.
customer, this is what I found during the inspection. And, sometimes it's a real big deal, and sometimes it's
Right.
it's little things.
So why don't you walk us on how you started the business?
Okay.
Okay. How did you come up with this idea all by yourself, or did you have a situation where you had an RV yourself and it was like all messed up when you bought it? It was like, man, I got to start this business to help others, you know? So what's your story?
So my story is that I had a software company,
Okay.
sold the company, and basically retired early at age 50, and was sitting around the house driving my wife crazy, driving me crazy too, and we decided we're going to buy a real nice Class A RV, big 41-foot RV. We went down to the dealership, and I had caught a glimpse of some videos on YouTube of people having bad experiences with buying RVs. So I said, I'm going to hire an RV inspector. And my wife says, but George, you've had 5 other RVs. Why do you need to get an RV inspector?
Right.
And for whatever reason, I just argued with her that I'm hiring an inspector. It doesn't matter. We're going to do it because
Was this RV brand new?
this RV was a used RV. It's a 2019,
Okay.
and represented by one of the big dealerships local here in town.
Okay.
And, like I said, I had 5 other RVs. Some were really good, some were troublesome, and I'm really familiar with all the components. I'd done some maintenance on them myself and
Right.
just all that. But then I hired this guy. He came out and he spent the whole day going through it. It was at the dealership, gave us a list, went back to the dealership, and the dealership, proceeded to argue with me about what was normal wear and tear, what wasn't. I'm like, well, he showed the seal on the slide is going to leak water in. I'm not buying this RV with that problem. He showed that the tires were expired from their date of useful life.
Okay.
And
And those are all important.
so even the stove. So the stove was one of these induction furnaces, and he put a thermometer on that furnace. I mean, on that stovetop,
Mm-hmm.
and it said 350. And on his thermometer, it went to 700 degrees and was keeping to climb. And I said, this is a safety issue.
Yeah.
That this thing is going way beyond what the temperature is supposed to be. And even the dealership, they said, well, our guy put a thing on there in boiled water. It's working just fine. I said, no, look at the pictures. See what the inspector said is it says 350, but he has over 700 degrees.
Right.
This is not safe.
So did
And
you end up buying the RV
I ended up buying the RV
after they fixed all the
after they fixed all the problems.
See, that was awesome.
Yeah.
It was
And-
important,
And this guy did really good. And so my wife says, George, you could do this.
That's cool.
And I said, you're probably right. So let me investigate. So I call up the school and I start researching online. What does it take to become a certified inspector?
Okay.
I get with their student liaison, and she tells me, oh, we have 4 months waiting list. Okay, well, let me know if something happens sooner. A couple of days later, I get a phone call. Hey, we just had an opening in 2 weeks. Can you make it? So I said
All
to my
right.
wife, I go, Jackie, you know what? We're going to Texas. you wanted me to be an inspector. Well, guess what? We're going.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we jumped in the new RV and we drove all the way to Texas and
Nice.
spent 3 weeks during, going through the school. And the school was tough. It was every single day, 8 a.m. to 5, then have 2 or 3 hours of homework
Oh my
every night.
God.
And so it was a challenge, and I consider myself fairly smart. And
So what year was that?
this is 26, so it was in 2023
Okay.
that I went to the school, and it's been a pretty good experience, and that's how I got started.
That's
And
great.
so,
Tell me a story where someone called you
mhm.
to, inspect their RV, and you found a whole bunch of stuff wrong with it.
Oh,
And then what
it's
happened after that?
okay. So there's a couple ways that story goes.
Okay.
So, for example, I'll use one where I inspected just basically across the street over here is a 2026 fifth wheel. Beautiful unit.
2026.
2026.
Brand new.
Brand new. Okay.
Okay.
I get in there.
Brand new, you guys.
Yeah. And I get in there and I have electrical testers and I have testers for propane leaks and all these different testing equipment that I use. And I start finding all these electrical problems where the unit wasn't grounded right in some of the outlets. And so some outlets tested fine, some outlets tested with open ground, which is a safety issue. And then you can't have the GFCI protection if you have an open ground.
Right.
So you could get electrocuted, really. And so I found it was about 7 different outlets out of maybe 20 that were faultily wired. I found the glass in one of the windows was cracked. I found
Really?
yeah, cracked
I can't
glass.
believe this.
And then the other thing I couldn't believe was so there's window blinds, that you pull down for
Yeah.
the night. Well, somebody installed the window blind off a center. So there's like a 2-inch gap on the side of the window, so if you're trying to sleep in the morning and the sun be coming right in because they installed
Yeah,
it,
definitely.
crooked. So things like that.
So did they fix all the problems?
I don't know yet because it was just yesterday,
Oh, okay.
but I have others where I go in and they will fix every single thing.
Nice.
And then I've had some experiences where the customer walks away from the sale, which in that case, I guarantee I saved them thousands of dollars. So
Yeah,
a perfect
definitely.
example is I went to this place out in Norco,
Okay.
and they're like a consignment yard. And I'm starting to look at the RV and doing my inspection. I get up on the roof, and the fiberglass on the roof was what's called delaminating, separating from the plywood that's underneath, because plywood, then they glue it down. Well, this was so bad that I could just like push with my hand and give the guy a video at the same time, and you could see the whole roof,
That's terrible.
wobbling like that. And that's like a $20,000 repair job
Yeah.
to do that on an RV.
Why does that happen? From the sun?
From the water.
Water. Okay.
Water gets underneath it, separates the plywood from the glue.
Okay.
The plywood starts rotting, and it can create soft spots and mold and mildew inside of the RV.
Okay.
And it's a really big problem with RVs. People don't realize when they buy RV that they have to maintain the sealant on the roof and on the sides of the windows, where the seams are. They have to have sealant.
Gotcha.
Not they call it caulking, some people, but it's basically a sealant that seals everything off. And when people don't keep that maintenance up, it can cause huge amounts of damage. And so in that case, the customer, I didn't even finish the inspection. I called the customer, I sent them videos, and I said, look at what's going on here. Are you sure you want me to proceed?
Right.
And he said, oh, no, I'm not buying it. That's enough for me to know that I'm not buying it. So I told him, look, I've only been here for an hour. I'm going to send you back half your money. And so I
That's
refunded
nice.
him half the money because I felt like I had, I know I saved
That's
him
very
thousands.
honest right there.
But, I could have just spent the whole day and come up with the report. Then there's been other cases where I'll crawl underneath the RV and I'll see damages from,
Right.
say, somebody drove over a ledge or a curb and it bent underneath, or I found things where the mufflers aren't connected to the generators, and
Right.
fumes can come up underneath the RV,
That's
and
terrible.
and cause them carbon monoxide
So
issues.
walk me through the process. Okay,
Okay.
so let's say I want to buy an RV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I call you, say, hey George, I'm buying this RV.
Right.
Can you come over, check it out? What are the steps? What
So
do you
the
do, and
steps.
how long does it take?
Okay. So the steps are, as I usually tell people, if it's a dealership or even a private party, you tell them I'm going to require an RV inspector, and the final purchase of this vehicle is contingent on the RV inspection results. And so you can go into any major dealership in California, because it's by the Bureau of Automotive Repair, and say, I'm going to put a deposit down, and then I'm going to buy this RV. But if there are things found that we can't resolve to everyone's satisfaction, then I'm not going to buy it.
Okay.
And you have to tell your salesperson that, and the finance manager that up front.
So do I have to put a deposit to buy that RV
If
first,
if
and
you're
then
if you're
call
buying it
you?
from a dealership, you'll have to put a deposit down,
Okay.
and then they'll refund it if I find something like that roof issue, for example.
Got it.
Just had that happen on a different story of a RV where the roof was bad and the dealership gave them back their deposit. If it's a private party, a lot of times they'll hold it, or you can create your own little contract with them and tell them that, based on the inspection, because most of the time when you're buying a used RV, the seller believes that it's in perfect condition.
Right.
They don't even realize that there might be problems with it because they've walked past that cabinet, or they've walked past the,
So how long is the inspection?
okay, so if I'm inspecting a Class A RV, so that big one
Yes.
that is, 40, 45 feet long, it could take me 8 hours on site. So it's a big day. I will drive to the location, say it's in Colton. It could take me an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. Then I go and do the 8 hour inspection. I drive home. Then I have to edit the report. And then I'll meet you on the computer with the report finished. I'll email it to you, and we'll go through it step by step. And I'll show you, we break it down into different categories. Here's
Right.
life safety issues. Here's major issues. Here's minor issues. And here are just comments.
Can you name some of the points that you go through with the client?
Oh, yeah. So,
Because you
for
said
example,
you do like 500 points or something like that?
right. So it's what's a 162 point inspection,
Okay.
but they say inspect the outlet. Well, there's 20 outlets, so it could be 500 points by the
Right,
time you're
right.
done.
Okay,
Um,
got it.
but so a basic start of the inspection is I get up on the roof. I like to get on the roof first because it can give me signs to look for when I get inside.
Yeah.
And so I get up on the roof. I'm checking all the sealant, the seams, the plumbing vents, the air conditioning units, and the material that the roof is made of. And I'm walking on the roof on purpose to feel if there's any soft spots. And I'll walk back and forth on purpose. And while I'm doing it, I have a tablet or my phone, and they communicate with each other. I use this really cool system. It's a checklist
Love
that
it.
hooks up to my Starlink. And then if, say, I drop my computer, boom, I got my phone, it's already on the phone. By the time
Nice.
I get home, it's already on my computer at home. And so I'm going through
Definitely a
this
great system.
checklist, and I'll check the sidewalls and all the windows and the sealant, and then I check all the cargo compartments, what's in those compartments, and to see, looking for leaks, looking for problems with the doors alignment, they lock and unlock properly. I'll do all that. I'll check the underside of the RV. I'll get under there as best I can, but I can usually get about halfway underneath it, just because it's not on a lift.
Right.
And I'll check for oil leaks. I check the hydraulic systems. I'll check for impact damages. All kinds of things. I can check some of the suspension components that
Right.
are visual, and I check the engine that it's running properly. I check the fluids. People can even hire me. I'm certified to be able to pull fluids, and I send them to the laboratory, so I can take out motor oil, transmission fluid,
Oh,
coolant
that's
from
cool.
the engine and the generators, and then we send it to the lab. The lab comes back and says, "Oh, there's water in the oil. There's
Right.
bearings in the transmission fluid." bearing metal, and
Right,
the
right.
lab can tell us quite a bit of stuff.
So let's talk about George a little bit.
Okay.
So George, tell me your morning routine. How is it like?
Okay.
What do you do in the mornings?
Okay. So usually have to wake up early because I have to get to the dealerships by
Yeah.
9 o'clock, or private party because it takes me all day for a job. And so I'll wake up in the morning, and lately I've been drinking the Rise coffee, the mushroom coffee.
Oh, really?
So
Tell
I
me,
have
how
one of
was that? I've
those.
been wanting to try that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's helped with my blood pressure, keep my blood pressure down than
Okay.
regular coffee. But so I'll do that. I get prepared. I always do a little research before I go to a job so that I'm familiar
Right.
with the accessories on the particular unit. I always ask people for the make and floor plan and VIN number so I can do some of that ahead of
Do
time.
you have time to read a book or do you have time to exercise?
I usually don't have time to do what I should do with
Yeah, really.
exercise, and I wish I had more time to do it. But
Yeah.
I find that just inspecting an RV can sometimes be 2 or 3 thousand steps.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
oh, we
That's
have to check the lights. Okay, you're walking to the back of the
that's
45
your
foot.
gym right there.
Yeah, and then walking back again and back and forth. And
Nice.
so I definitely get thousands of steps in a day
Where's the
doing an
furthest you've
inspection.
been to inspect an RV?
Oh, the furthest I'd probably say is maybe Cathedral City.
Okay.
I go to San Diego quite a bit, and I also go out to Orange County. I try to stay away from, I won't go out to LA or the San Fernando Valley or Simi Valley because it's
Right.
just so long of a travel
Right.
that
Too much traffic.
I couldn't do it in one day.
Right.
So, but generally speaking, anywhere from Riverside County, Orange County, San Diego County, I go to, and wherever it is, whatever
Right.
dealership. I've been to every dealership. I've private parties, wherever
Okay,
the
that's
RV
good.
is, it
So if
takes me.
somebody is listening to this podcast and they
Hmm.
want to start an RV inspection business,
Right?
what would you give them? What advice?
I would tell them,
'Cause
don't
since
do it.
since you're
Don't
so
do it.
successful,
No. I would tell them, don't
don't do
it.
it. Why is that?
Because I
Too
want
much
the
work?
business for me.
Oh, no, they could be like listening to this somewhere else.
Oh, it's all
You
good.
know, it could
You know,
be
if they
could be in Arizona.
they're not going to become a millionaire doing RV inspections, but the thing that I like the most about it is the happy customers
Yeah.
that I get, and that's my
Customer
reward,
satisfaction.
is that they'll tell me how much they're appreciative of what I've done and what I've found for them, and that's really my reward.
Yeah, I'm into that.
I'm in a spot where I don't have to work, but I
Nice.
do it because I like to help people.
Love it.
And
What are some of the places that you've been to with your RV that you
Oh,
enjoyed a lot?
okay. I go RVing all over the place. I have a Jeep, and we'll tow the Jeep to
Nice.
anywhere from an off-road area, or we can tow my wife's car behind it, and we'll go camping. We've gone as far as Wilmington, North Carolina, and back, traveling all around. We've been to Texas. We've been to Washington, Arizona,
Fun.
Colorado,
Any crazy
Utah.
stories you can share with us?
Oh, sheesh. Sometimes, one of the things I've learned about RVs is that they are a rolling earthquake. And
Yeah.
so you're driving that RV, and one minute everything's working, and the next minute it's not.
Right.
And I've had it where we went to Moab, Utah, and we're coming home from Moab, Utah, and the RV broke down. And luckily, I always filled it with as much fuel as I could in case we ever broke down. So that way I could run the generator. When it was freezing cold out,
Right.
we're running the heater, and we got TV going on and all this. But we're stuck basically just off the freeway.
Oh
And we
no.
were there for 2 days while we were getting
At least you have
parts and
somewhere to sleep.
yeah, so we had somewhere to sleep, and we had the RV, and so my biggest recommendation is whenever you travel, always make sure you have full fuel.
Yeah.
And so we've had that. We've had experiences where it's just great. So for example, we went to Tennessee, and we didn't have a car. We just had the RV. So we're talking to the campground manager, and she says, "Well, this guy here, he can help you. He gives people tours. So we hired the guy to give us a tour, and he would take us to this place and tell me when you're done, I'll call me and we'll come pick you back up and take you to this dinner for restaurant, take you here, take you there. And
Yeah.
the local people know the most about, their sites and
Right.
stuff like that. And so it's just been great doing that. And that's
Yeah.
one of the most fun things I find about RVing is,
Yeah,
is
definitely.
you can go down to San Diego and people there are RVing are super nice. You go to Arizona, people
Yeah.
RVing are super nice. And
Let me
it's just
ask you this.
something
What's
about
your favorite movie? You know,
my
one of my
favorite.
favorite movie?
What is it?
RV.
Oh yeah,
You ever seen that one?
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's my
That's a
favorite.
good one. Well, you want to make sure
It just
you
came to
don't.
my mind right now as we're talking. Like, I gotta go back and watch it again.
Yeah, well, I had a kind of a experience like that at a dealership
You
where they
did?
said to me, oh, this RV is brand new. You can pull the valves.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I pulled one of the valves and out came just like Robin
Oh
Williams got.
God,
And
that's
I just,
terrible.
oh man, it was awful. And I'm like, you guys said it was clean and it's not.
Yeah.
And luckily I immediately saw I closed that valve and we got the hose out and cleaned things
Yeah.
off. But boy, I almost ended up like Robin Williams there.
I'm just imagining that in my
Oh,
mind
it
right
was
now.
awful. Yeah.
So, you know what, George, I really enjoyed listening to your story. I
Mhm.
know a lot of people really enjoyed your story as well. Why don't you turn to the camera and right here and tell everybody,
Okay.
where they can reach you to inspect their RV.
Okay, well, you can find me Google Maps, and you can also just look me up on www.rvinspectionsbygeorge.com. On that website, you'll find all kinds of information about me. You'll find a whole lot of Google reviews from people that have been happy about me. You can call me on the phone, 562-822-5324, and we can talk about your needs and what it is that you're after with an RV inspection and how I might be able to help you.
Definitely. Well, thank you again for coming on the show of What is Your Story?
Mhm.
You guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I did. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, Lewis.